We're going to kick off the show with the team that's the hottest team in town. Of course, your 24-1 San Diego State Aztecs, ranked 6th in the country, and we're joined right now by center Brian Carlwell on Extra Sports 1360. Brian, good to have you on the show. Ben Higgins, Chris Ella. I have to say, I really enjoyed your performance, well, on the floor, in the last game against Utah, but especially in the press conference afterwards. You had us rolling in the aisles with the curly fries talk and the get the old folks out of their seats talk. That was fantastic, man.
Thank you. It was a fun game to play. The crowd was amazing. My teammates were amazing. We just had so much fun out there, and it's something we love to do.
Brian, a couple of questions I have in reaction to the game against Utah. I'm sure you've looked at some of the tape of the game. You guys have gone over things. How do you rate your performance celebrating some of your baskets on Tuesday night? When you look at yourself run down the field or run down the court and beating your chest and screaming, it is the moment. It is the excitement. That is what sports is all about. That is what we love to see. How do you feel when you look at yourself on tape doing that? Do you feel a little funny looking at that, or do you say, "No, man, that's me. I love it"?
No, that's definitely me. I don't regret anything I do, and that's just my passion and my energy that I play with. I bring it night in, night out. So I don't mean to try to show anybody up by doing this. So I hope I can do that, but that's just me and the way I always handle things.
You had a real Kevin Garnett kind of moment in the first half, where kind of the screaming and the shaking after the basket. I was very excited. So you watched those highlights after the game? You loved it?
Yeah, a little bit. I saw them. A couple people made me watch them because they want to. They showed me some stuff, but yeah, I mean, it's funny that you say that because Kevin Garnett is my favorite player. That's somebody who I always watch and I look at it, and just his passion that he brings to the game is the same type of energy I try to play with, night in, night out. So, it's fun. It's fun game to play.
Yeah, you got to see that in your eyes, Brian. You got that Kevin Garnett kind of glare out there.
Absolutely, man. Let's have. Game. I mean, this is sports, man. This is fun, man. And watching Brian Carlwell, I mean, that adds to our enjoyment and the fun. Now, has anything happened with the curly fries? Has Steve Fisher been able to convince anybody to give these kids the curly fries? We had who did we have on yesterday? Malcolm Thomas yesterday. I know all of the guys, and I know you said it in the press conference after the game, were so disappointed you couldn't get the curly fries. Is there anything we can do? Can Chris and Ben start some way to get the damn curly fries to everybody? You win by 32 points. People should get curly fries.
You're absolutely right. We're about to get ready to start practice soon. I'm going to see if I can pull a coach to the side and meet with them a little bit and see if there's a way we can get some guys at curly fries, because I know they've been wanting them.
Oh, man, got to have some curly fries.
Brian, on a slightly more serious note, there's about 325 NCAA Division I college basketball teams. You'd probably be a starter on well over 300 of them, but with the Aztecs and as many talented players as there are, you got to come off the bench. You got to make the most of your minutes. You got a lot of them because of some injuries in the last game. Is that at all difficult for you, reconciling the fact that, I probably could be playing more somewhere else, but I'm a part of something special here?
No, it's just life, That's the way things happen. And it's not like the people in front of me are not producing. It's not like I don't love those guys to death. So it's no problem at all. It gets hard, like everything at times. But you just got to be mature about it and accept things for what they are, because things won't change because you get mad about them. Things are the way they are until something happens. So it's just something you play on. You deal with it, and you just keep going. And like the type of season that we're having, I don't think there's anybody in America who probably wouldn't mind just sitting the bench and just being a part of it, And I know I'm here for a reason, whether that's provide energy on the court or off the court on the bench, getting my guys hyped and keeping the crowd into it, and just giving nuggets here and there about the game that I see on the bench, because that's one thing that I'm also able to do while being on the bench. I'm able to actually see some of the things that guys are doing on our team and their team. I'm always giving Malcolm different nuggets of what I see, different ways for him to score and be effective on the court. I'm always in coach's ear, letting them know what I see, and they all appreciate it. They ask me, they tell me to keep it coming, and that's just what I do. So I'm here for a reason. I know that. and I accepted that. Whether that reason is to play or to be, a supporter of the team, I'm going to do it.
Brian Carlwell of the Aztecs kicking off our show in grand style today here on Extra Sports 1360. You know something, Brian? I think what you're saying right now is a great lesson for all of us to learn, and that is whatever situation you are, make the best of it. It sounds like kind of a trite thing to say, maybe a bit of a cliche, but not a lot of guys can do that. Not a lot of guys can actually do it. They might say it, but they can't necessarily do it. You can do that, and I think that's a credit to yourself, and I think it's a credit to this basketball team. And, when you say, look, anybody would give their right arm to be part of this team and sit on the bench. Dude, you're not sitting on the bench. You are a part of this team, and I don't think there's a single Aztec fan who thinks any differently about that. Let's go ahead now, and I did want to ask you one thing about when you're starting a game and you're on the bench, and your number is going to be called, and your time's going to come into the game. Can you give us a little idea of how Coach Fisher and Dutcher and the staff handles the substitution patterns? Do they go over with you in the locker room before a game and say, hey, tonight, Brian, probably going to get you in there about the 4 or 5 minute mark, or tonight, Brian, probably going to get you in there about the 9 or 10 minute mark? Do they tell you anything before a game? Do you know when you might be coming in, number one? Number two, do you ever get a little antsy and want to go over and maybe tap Coach Dutcher on the shoulder and go, hey, Dutch, don't forget about me, man. I'm kind of ready to get into the game.
No, they never get into minutes at all, like, well, this is when we're going to put you in. Right. But sometimes Coach does have a feel, especially if it's maybe a little bigger lineup that we're playing against. He goes, BC, we might have to go to you early, depending on what this lineup is about. So it's never really a minute mark, but as far as the lineups and the matchups that we're playing against, sometimes things change. Sometimes they will want me to go in earlier, but the way the starters are playing, everything is flowing right. We got game momentum. You just let them ride that wave, or sometimes things are a little down, and we might need to pick me up. So that might be a substitute there. As far as the second question, I definitely get antsy. As soon as the tip off, as soon as the ball is thrown up.
Hey, Coach, they just tipped it off. I'm ready to get into the game. Any chance?
Exactly. Like, I'm down there, my legs are shaking. Like, because I'm just so excited about the game, and especially being here at home and just the atmosphere. And like at any given moment, the crowd is going to erupt, and that's just that is an amazing feeling. So I'm always antsy and anxious to get into the game. But, you have to do a better job of controlling those emotions, because if you're going there too anxious and too angsty, that's when mistakes start happening.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that I must say that I am a little antsy at the beginning of the games.
Are you ready for another knockdown drag-out on Saturday like the first meeting with UNLV, or do you think maybe it'll play out a little differently this time?
You never know these guys, especially going to UNLV. The style of defense they play, and just being at their home court, and us being the number 16 in the nation, probably giving them added motivation. You never know how things are going to be. Hopefully, we can go out there and establish ourselves early and often, and take control of the game and just don't look back. But this is college basketball. There's twists and turns around every corner, so we just have to go out there prepared for everything. Just have the game plan down and ready to play, and I think we'll be okay.
Brian Carlwell of the San Diego State Aztecs, the big fella, joining us here on Extra Sports 1360. Brian, real quick, for those who don't know and those who may not remember, obviously you began your career at the University of Illinois, transferred to San Diego State. Just real briefly, we got a couple of minutes here, but take us through your decision to transfer to San Diego State. What caught your eye about San Diego State when you're there in the Midwest? You get the Aztecs out here. I don't know how many Aztec games you get to see on television when you're living in Illinois. What brought you to San Diego State? What kind of got you thinking about coming here? And I don't even need to ask you whether or not you think this has worked out well for you, because I know that that it has.
This definitely is the place for me right now. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but at the end of my freshman year, I was in a pretty bad car accident. So that happened, and that was starting to take a toll on me mentally. It definitely, was getting to my head, the fact that, I was in this bad car accident. Then later on down the year, when I was able to recover and come back, I ended up slightly tearing my MCL. and things I just thought weren't going my way at the time. So I decided that I needed to change, and a good friend of mine, he actually ended up enrolling into school here for basketball. His name was Quentin Watkins. I don't know if you guys remember him from a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. And he just told me about the program and the coaching staff. So I started doing my research, looking into the program, looking into the kids they had here. And the coaches ended up, Coach Justin Hudson ended up contacting me and, saying that they were really interested if I was, serious about leaving. And, I just went through that whole recruiting process again and ended up coming to the conclusion that this would be the best place for me if I ever wanted to get, close enough to winning the national championship that I want. And, like you said, this is definitely the best decision that I made.
Well, Brian, good luck on Saturday in Vegas. Thanks for joining us, and continued success in the quest for 25-1 next time out.
Thank you.